The final game of the round robin of the 2024 Hill United Chiefs Challenge is upon us on this Saturday evening. Steamy Simcoe. And it's a matchup of the defending Chiefs Challenge Tournament champion and world champion, New York Gremlins, and the Northeast Drillers based out of Virginia. And here's a look at the lineup that pitcher Marshall Cronk will face. And it is a good one. Peter Lubardius alongside Blair Setford. And Blair, the Gremlins certainly putting their best lineup forward in this final round-robin game. In this matchup, the Gremlins are 3-0. The Drillers are 2-1. They'll both participate regardless in tomorrow morning's semifinals.
Yeah, this is all about seeding right now. Who's going to play whom and where. The only guy missing from the Gremlins lineup, I would argue, is Jerome Remeke. They've got just about everybody else out there, and they're going with the ace, Jack Besgrove. And for the Drillers, pretty much the same thing. That's their A-team, arguably other than Marshall Cronk pitching, but certainly he'll be batting in the lineup too.
Matthew Waugh leads things off, the product of Saint-Gervais, Quebec. And the Gremlins, like Hill United, have not only won 3 games, Blair, they've been dominant in doing so.
Yeah, some mercy wins for the Gremlins today over STK and over the Midland Explorers. Just overmatched both of those teams.
12-0 against Midland. As Matthew Waugh, a 6-time All-World ISC member, fouls that down the right side. Defensively, for Northeast, Cronk the pitcher, Juan Zara behind the plate. And here's how it looks around the diamond. Schiller, Shaw, Milheim, Godoy, Migliavaca, the youngster Solorio, and Blake Underwood man the outfield. So Hill United finishes at 4-0. The Gremlins trying to do the same. And then run differential, Blair, will decide who's seed number 1 and who's seed 2, as Matthew Waugh ended up on his seat and also at first base with a leadoff walk to start the game.
He gets a good dusting off from first base coach Greg Hicks. And this is something nice to see. Some sportsmanship here from Lucio Redemar. Come out, shake the hand of Juan Zara. Of course, they're probably well acquainted with each other from Paraná, Argentina, the Argentina League down there, but also the umpire, Scott McLaren from Penticton, BC, behind the plate.
Well, Redemar had an outstanding game earlier today. Had 3 hits, drove in 4 runs in the win over STK. Their first of 3 games so far today, and he is just 21 years of age from, as Blair mentioned, that factory that is Paraná, Argentina. And he figures to be wearing blue and white along with Gremlin gear for a long time, I would think.
It's a great addition for them, and you are already seeing the Gremlins do this. We talked about this with Hill United a little bit earlier. It's the slow, gradual turnover of the teams. Hill United was always based around Adam Folkert, Steve Mullally, Jason Hill. Those 3 guys have moved on. Nick Shales is still there. Bradley Ezekill's still there, but they're bringing in younger guys like Nick White, and they already did this with Nico Carrillo. He's come and gone. Jeff Ellsworth now coaching the team. So Hill United has had that turnover, and it's starting with the Gremlins. Andrew Kirkpatrick, who this team was built around, has retired, and he'll be going into multiple, I'm sure, halls of fame in the not-so-distant future. But younger guys, Mumu and Redemar here, are going to be the future of this team.
Redemar is just 24, wears number 21. And another batter who goes with a split hands fellow countryman Ladislaw Malerzuk. One of the first guys at a high level many years ago that I noticed went in that direction, and now I see far more. There's Cronk with a great rise ball to record his first strikeout. So the Australian, Cronk, gets the young Argentine to strike out. Waugh remains at first and is obviously a threat to steal. And the batter is 34-year-old Ben Anoka. High in the air, Solorio gives chase, and did he hang on? Yes, he did. Oh, a marvelous catch by Jordan Solorio, who's shaken up. Did he go a long way to get this, and well worth another look? My goodness, we've seen some defensive gems on this diamond today, and this one about as good as it gets, Blair.
8 to 10 strides, and then getting the foot out to protect himself as he slides into the fence. That is some heads-up baseball from a very young ball player, just 2021. And Ben Anoka on the receiving end of a great play. How many times has Ben Anoka done that to others over the years? And all you can do is just tip your cap. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that from Jordan Solorio in the next dozen or more years.
The 22-year-old from Mexico robs Anoka of an extra base hit. Waugh was able to tag and make his way to second into scoring position. And look, Eric Ochoa has his number 8 back. He has worn 42 and 18 so far in this tournament after losing some luggage.
Yeah, maybe the bags showed up at the hotel this afternoon, or maybe he had this one in his ball bag. Possibly, we'll never know, but unfortunate, but the perils of modern travel, which you know as well as any about, or perhaps better than most.
Well, I will say there has been more nights in 2024 spent in hotel rooms than there has been in my own bedroom. I think the number of nights after this weekend will be 95.
Pretty impressive.
Since January the 1st.
I know I've spent 2 of the last 11 on the road. Or sorry, 2 of the last 11 have been at home. Everything else has been on the road.
Yeah, it's been particularly busy, but I really wouldn't have it any other way. It's a little hobby that I play called the sports life. Ochoa looking to cash in the game's first run. Marshall Cronk has other ideas. A quality changeup to get Ochoa swinging to end the top of the first. The Drillers coming to bat when we return to Simcoe on a Saturday night of softball.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't.
The Northeast Drillers with a record of 2-1 in the tournament coming to bat. And a look at their batting order. Schiller in the 3-hole. and a very good lineup. However, when we look at the pitcher, one of the stars of the sport, and he's just 20 years old, Jack Besgrove, gets the nod. Wah, Anoka, Redemar, Ochoa, Malarzuk, Evans, and Brian Avery at third in this game, with Nick Mullins, one of the great receivers in the game for a long time, and Teo Migliavaca to lead off, lefty versus lefty, against Besgrove, who at last week's World Cup qualifier in Mexico struck out 70 batters in 33 2/3 innings.
Just to add context to that for all the folks who are not math geeks, and not that I am either, but that is 70% of the batters faced he struck out. Over 199 available outs, 70% of them by strikeout.
And in the game that mattered the most, which was for a qualifying spot because they had a tough time in the round robin, he struck out 16 Venezuelan batters. In fact, he had 3 games where he struck out 16, 16, and 15. The other 2 big strikeout numbers came against Mexico as he wastes little time recording his first strikeout of this game, much to the chagrin of leadoff batter Teo Migliavaca.
I was going to say that Teo Migliavaca caught the previous game against the Toronto Batmen, so I was curious to see how that might have affected his legs, but we'll never know, at least until his next at bat.
Well, I did see him stretching out and trying to get comfortable in the stands as they were watching part of or the end of the last game. This is an impressive hitter in Blaine Milheim. Must say I've not seen a lot of him with my own 2 eyes, but can understand, Blair, why he's been a long-time USA national team member and had an all-world performance in Denmark, Wisconsin last year. And had a pretty good twist on the Jack Besgrove rise ball here. 28 years of age is Blaine Milheim. He had 476 at last year's World Tournament with 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in. He's had a couple of solid shots this weekend as well.
Check.
As Milheim goes down swinging on a changeup. Besgrove did not throw a lot of changeups in the game that we called on Friday night, which was last night. In some ways it feels like 3 days ago. Not sure why. But yes, just last night. Maybe it's because I've watched him pitch so much in the last 10 days, whether it was on video or in person.
Peter, you talked about Blaine Milheim. Was with the New York Gremlins in 2019. He was one of those guys who was relatively new to the game, but was a young guy with a big team, soaked in that winning atmosphere, got an ISC championship, but now he's taken that experience. He played a season with Fargo, came to the Niagara Stompers, well, it was the Hallman Twins, then the Niagara Stompers, and now the Northeast Drillers. It's basically the same group of guys who have just gone through 3 separate sets of uniforms over the last 3 seasons, but he's brought what he learned from the Gremlins with him.
From Homer, Michigan, which is a pretty good hometown for a good hitter, and he's beat that out. Gets down the line well, too. There's another element of his game that I haven't necessarily seen this weekend. The high chopper right off the plate, Blair.
Yeah, that's a fortunate break for Blaine, who does run very well. He's got all the tools, and he beats that one out by a step almost.
So has the first hit His 35-year-old Cam Schiller is the batter from Prescott, Arizona, and had a good rip at that Besgrove pitch.
But there's the lateral movement that you and I were talking about in addition to the vertical change. That pitch was going to be in Schiller's wheelhouse. He had accounted for the drop, but it curved outside his bat arc. Same thing.
Such tight spin. For the 20-year-old, he won't turn 21, Besgrove, until the 17th of December. There's an ISC tournament title, a World Men's title, a World Under-23 title. He's had a career already.
There'd be a lot of guys that would count themselves fortunate to win one ISC World Tournament, one World Cup. He's going to have the opportunity to win 5, 6 ISCs, 3 World Cups, maybe 4.
Well, he'll get another chance, and he made it happen as far as Australia is concerned next year. And as his second strikeout, as Cam Schiller, a very good hitter in his own right, goes down swinging. Pitcher Marshall Cronk.
So here's the Aussie matchup. We'll see how much Marshall's been going to school playing behind Jack.
A strike. And I know what you think of the guy behind the plate. That is not going to hurt the progression of Besgrove either. In Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I was just going to say Nick Mullins has helped out several pitchers over the years that have come through the Gremlins program. You go talk to Andrew Kirkpatrick about the impact that Nick had on the latter stages of his career, basically the back half of Andrew's career. And Andrew seemed to get better every year from 2017, 2018 really onwards. The last 5 years of Andrew's career might have been the best 5.
It's hard to argue. What he did in Kitchener comes to mind instantly, and that was just one of his great tournaments down the stretch of his career, which did not end very long ago.
Well, last year he won the game against this team here. Again, they were the Stompers last year, but he won that game. That was the loser's bracket final.
On the move is Milheim, and it doesn't matter. Besgrove gave up a hit, but also struck out 3. To the top of the second when we return to the 2024 Hill United Chiefs Challenge. Cole Evans, the 26-year-old captain of the New Zealand Black Sox national team, set to lead things off in a 0-0 game between two of the most highly ranked teams going back to the spring. One hopper no trouble for Schiller, and just like that, there is one away.
Two of the best shortstops in the game, and this one, Peter, Cam Schiller, Cole Evans, in a game where we are blessed with a multitude of exceptional athletes at the shortstop position. These two near or at the top of that list.
David Galino, obviously longtime shortstop for Canada, and Bear Creek, or Hill United, pardon me, and Shane Boland. You're right. No shortage of good guys playing position number 6. 40-year-old Zenon Winters, the designated player, has had a long career in the sport.
There are 3 surviving Farm Tavern players still in the game. Zenon Winters, Robbie Schweier, and Jason Hill, the last 3 farmers.
Well, and Jason Hill went on quite a tear at the World Tournament with the Farm, going back to the late 2000s, in that neighborhood of 08, 09, and 2010. I'm pretty sure he was an all-world type guy 3 years in a row.
Yeah, 3-4 years. There's a book kicking around here somewhere that'll tell us that.
Winters, in talking about great shortstop play, Cam Schiller just displayed it.
Yeah, that's an outstanding play, and it helps to be 6'1" like Cam Schiller too, because that's just about the extent of the range.
And used all of it to take a hit away from Zenon Winters. Brian Avery is playing at third base. We've seen him primarily in right field in this event. Two out. Marshall Cronk, do not believe, worked any time in last year's ISC World Tournament in the circle.
No, I don't know.
Not that I was able to find.
No, he would have been the 4 guy on the Stompers last year.
Has thrown internationally for his home country of Australia.
Battle of former MVPs here too. Brian Avery 2018, Marshall Cronk 2022.
Avery, 37 years of age, from Richmond, British Columbia. And he's been a longtime member of Canada's national team. And looked like he got a pretty good pitch to hit.
Yeah, outside corner from the vantage point that we've got. Basically exactly right behind home plate.
Scott McLaren is our home plate umpire tonight. Lifted in the air and will get out of play as Juan Zara takes a peek at it. Donning what looks to be a fairly new white glove.
Dave Jackson of Ajax is our first base umpire, and Kevin D. Domenico from Hamilton, Ontario, out at third. Scott Penticton, BC. He'll be making his ISC World Tournament debut.
In Surrey, Marshall Cronk has been effective early in the game. 2 scoreless innings against the reigning Chiefs Challenge and world champion Gremlins.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't
47-year-old Manuel Godoy in the leadoff spot in this inning for the Northeast Drillers. Jack Besgrove gave up a bouncer off home plate for a single, but then struck out the other three batters that he faced. Look at that. Now you're working my notes. No balls and a strike to Godoy. Check swing, foul. You're not buying the age.
I am not buying them.
I'm
He's
not sure.
47.
I'm not sure I'm buying it either. But I could have sworn on a WBSC in my research, it's probably 37.
I can see that.
Anyway, we'll take a double check.
Yeah, makes a little more sense at that age.
When you go through 40 hours of prep, you're not going to get everything right in your notes. .37 or 47, been a good player for a long time. I know that. And he's bested by a guy who I do know is 20 in Jack Besgrove.
Well, he had a long career with Circle Top Dukes, 3 times All-World, won a batting title in there, I believe, somewhere too, always at the top of the charts.
So 3 straight strikeouts now for Besgrove.
And I really like this young kid here, Jordan Solorio from Mexico. He is an up-and-comer. We already saw the defense.
Made a sensational running catch into the fence earlier in the game to take a hit away from Ben Anoka. Took something off that time, did Besgrove, but missed up with the change. Solorio, just 22 years of age, from Mexico, competed in last week's World Cup qualifier for his home country, which not everyone who could have did. And that's an interesting story always for me.
I talked to a couple of the folks who were there, and they said the decision by the Mexican Federation was to go young. So some guys like Tony Gonzalez were not on the squad, but to me that doesn't explain why Lenny Villavazzo wasn't there. Lenny Villavazzo is one of the top hitters in the game and fits the young category. So some interesting, to your point, Peter, and perhaps questionable given they were 1 game away from being in a position to qualify.
I'd put Alejandro Villalobos in that category too, and I don't believe he was there. And he's just 26 years of age.
Yeah.
Now, to me, the most notable, a guy who has played for his country, is Marco Diaz. And he is opting to play internationally moving forward for the United States.
And I think he sees what we see in the U.S. team and the promise of the Americans. They've got to the podium. They're capable of taking 2 steps up.
Talking about the podium, this guy's known nothing but and is in a groove early in this round robin finale with strikeout number 4 in a row and number 5 in the game. 31-year-old Juan Zara, an all-world catcher at last year's tournament in Denmark, Wisconsin, from Argentina.
Well, that 2012-2014 group, Peter, Juan Zara was in the middle of that group, and then again in the middle of the team that won in 2019. So he's been at that vanguard of Argentina players and their championships. And not to hand the Americans a medal or even a gold medal, but they're going to be competitive, as is Australia, as is Argentina, as is Canada. Jon Stewart made a remark earlier today on social media. There are 6 to 8 teams that could reliably or reasonably be amongst the medal winners in men's fast pitch right now.
Change up from Besgrove, just misses. I've said it a number of times. I think I've even mentioned it once or twice this weekend. I think next year's World Championship in Prince Albert, now known officially as a World Cup, might be as competitive as we've ever seen in terms of exactly what you said. More teams truly capable than maybe ever of winning.
Oh, I don't think it's even in doubt. I think it is. You've made a declaration and you are bang on with it. I go back to 2015. There were 3 countries. We pretty much knew who was going to be on the podium that year. You could argue that Venezuela was a bit of an upset, but really that championship was between Canada and New Zealand pretty much all the way along. Argentina jumps up in 2019. You've got the emergence or re-emergence now of Venezuela again. It is really going to be good. The return of the U.S. to this level with pitching.
Kilpatrick and Diaz. Zara stays alive.
You put Japan into that mix with the pitching depth that they've got. They just need to hit. I mean, you talked last night, and I fully agreed with you that it was a disappointment for New Zealand. Japan, same thing, not being in the playoff round.
And that's been rare for them. This is hit hard down the line, and it is fair. Zara can scoot, and he'll stand up easily. Made a big turn even at third. A catcher who has great speed. And a triple off of Besgrove by Zara, the world-class catcher. And the Drillers have a go-ahead run 60 feet away for Blake Underwood, the right fielder, 37-year-old from Port Elgin, Ontario.
Greg Leather has come out to ask the umpires about whether or not Zara missed a base. I'll be honest, if he did, I didn't see it. I was watching the ball down the line. I don't know if he missed first.
Is he asking about something else? When did the ball finish and go by the home run fence?
Well, that's a good question, too. That's a legit argument. I kind of assumed he was asking about the base. Did he miss a base? But did it go out of play behind the home run fence is a good question.
It was very close. Well, nothing is changing except a courtesy runner, and not that he needs one except to get his equipment ready.
Yeah, the 2-out replacement rule for the catcher only is what's being used here and what will be used in the ISC. Understand both. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here comes Solorio, and he is tagged out. Excellent hustle by the veteran Nick Mullins in Besgrove. Wasted little time to get to where he needed to be and put the tag on to keep this game at 0-0.
Yeah, you'll see it here. He gets the glove down and he slides right into the glove. Never makes the plate before the tag.
An exciting end. We'll head to the third, still looking for the game's first run.
inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there.
Top of the third inning, Ladislaw Malerzuk, who was a youngster back in the 2015 Pan American Games in Ajax, Ontario.
Another guy who came through that 2012-2014 era with the youth team.
Yeah, it's amazing how quick the years start to fly by. I think he might have been 18 at the time, or 19.
Well, that was a U19 team exactly back in 2012. So,
but I'm even thinking about 3 years later in 2015 at the Pan American Games.
Yeah, Malerzuk, the bronze medalist that year with Argentina. They beat the U.S., I think, or they would have got the bronze in the old Page system.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't have a bronze game, I don't think, back then.
Canada and Venezuela played for the title, won 2-0, and maybe as great a game as Sean Cleary has ever pitched in a winner-take-all type affair on that Sunday afternoon in Ajax.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that being the crowning achievement for that Team Canada edition.
What a summer. Won the World Championship and weeks later won the Pan American Championship.
There were 3 or 4 players and a coach, John Hill, who was part of that group, Stephen Lawley, Jason Hill, Bradley Ezekiel.
Well, Ezekiel hit the 2-run homer off of Vega.
Yeah, but they were all on the Hill United Chiefs.
Yes.
Not only did they win, Team Canada won the WBSC, they won the Pan Am Gold. The Chiefs would go on to win
the ISC,
the ASA, the U.S. National Championship, the ISC,
and the Canadian Championship.
For good measure, Galway won the Canadians that year, 5 for 5.
That's
those
pretty
guys.
Good. Pretty good, to say the least. Mr. Ezekiel still hitting it very well. He's had a great weekend.
Walloping the ball.
Nick Mullins trying to get the Gremlins going here in the third off Marshall Cronk, who has been sharp early. And against this lineup, it is no easy chore. The Gremlins had to win 3 on the final day.
They pulled it off in record-breaking fashion, too. Ben Anoka would set a new RBI mark in the 4th place game. 8 RBIs in a single game for Ben Anoka. Capped it off with a grand slam.
That's a day.
That was a day. That was just one game, 8 RBIs. It was the top 4 in the rankings that were the final 4 at the World Tournament last year. It's the same 4 teams here.
Nice scoop by 37-year-old Manuel Godoy. And my apologies to him and his family. Apparently in my prep, I can't read 87 to get to 0 to get to 24.
You see how far over Cam Schiller ranges on the backhand, a nice solid transfer, but also just the good mechanics in the way that he makes that throw. His feet are underneath him. He's not trying to rush it. He knows he's got the arm strength to get the ball there.
So 2 down. And to the top of the order, and Matthew Waugh, who walked back in the first. And rips this for extra bases down the left field line. Will he go to third? A stand-up double for 36-year-old Matthew Waugh from Saint-Gervais, Quebec.
2 out, now batting right fielder, number 21, Lucio.
And Solorio again, Blair, with good speed just to go track that. There would be others where there might be a chance for Waugh to make his way to third.
Well, that's trailing away from Solorio. He's got to go get it. He made a good throw into the cutoff man. A lot of times guys will miss the cutoff man in their haste just to try to get the ball back into as quickly as possible. Hitting the cutoff man is so important because it prevents Matthew from taking that extra base.
Redemar, an opportunity to give the Gremlins the lead. They're 3-0 in the tournament. It's all about seeding right now for tomorrow's playoffs. We know who the 4 teams are that will play the 2 games at 10. We just don't know who's going to face who and how they'll be seeded 1 through 4. We do know that Hill United can't be any less than the 2 seed. They're 4-0.
Yeah, it'll come down, if the Gremlins win this game, it would come down to the run differential because they did not play each other in the round robin, obviously, if both remain undefeated. This is not the Euro 24 where you can have a round robin game end in a tie.
Are you opposed to that?
I'd like to see winners wherever possible.
You know what? I've changed my mind on that a little bit, believe it or not. And it depends on the sport. This one, I want a winner. But there have been times we've sat, probably the longest game I ever watched was a 27-inning 1-0 game. Patty Pollock and Lou-Anne Izzard at the 1983 Canadian Senior Women's Championship in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec.
That is a marathon.
27. And I was a statistician of the Saskatoon Harmony Center ladies team who had to play a playoff game when that one ended.
So you guys were sitting around for a while.
A long time.
A long time.
But the international rule in this game, which was not in effect back then, has changed a lot of those lengthy affairs in order to get a winner. We're not going to play 27 tonight. Been a lot of games where getting to 7 hasn't always been easy this week. We've had some lopsided scores here.
We have had a couple of lopsided scores. As a tournament director, you don't mind those because it does help to get you back onto schedule.
Redemar continues his at-bat. And we talk a little history. Full count to the 24-year-old from Argentina. As Kronk takes a look in at Zara for the sign. And just missed. Outside. And runners now at first and second. Waugh is there courtesy of his 2-out double. And here's Ben Anoka, who could have cashed in Waugh in the first had it not been for a brilliant catch against the fence by Jordan Solorio in left. See if Kronk can get out of this mini jam here. Comes in tight with a rise and a strike. Kronk has not pitched a lot in ISC games, at least in the World Tournament. He has thrown a decent amount for his country. In fact, he threw 14 2/3 innings in the last Men's World Championship. Gave up 6 runs on 12 hits in the 2022 World Cup. Anoka on the ground. Schiller no trouble on the shovel to end the inning. The Gremlins threaten. They don't score. To the bottom of the third in a 0-0 game. The final night of the round robin at the Chiefs Challenge.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.com.
Those fries over there, they smell good. Keep your eyes on the prize.
Keep your eyes on your fries.
Look at them. Homemade. Yum. Been a tasty treat as far as the game is concerned. And Besgrove against Kronk. Both teams have threatened but have yet to score. Blake Underwood, who was at home plate on the attempted score and the inning-ending Mullins to Besgrove tagout to prevent Jordan Solorio, a pinch runner, after Juan Zara had tripled from scoring the game's first run. Besgrove leans back and comes up with the rise in on the hands of Underwood.
See, that registers as 75, but boy, does it feel like it's coming a lot harder. Now, you're always going to get, as called out on strikes, as Blake Underwood. Sorry, Peter, but I was just going to say, you're always going to get the drop ball with more velocity showing than the rise ball, and those last 2 pitches were rise balls. But it just seems like he throws so much harder, partly because of the movement.
Well, I must say, I've been surprised. And he was certainly on the gun in Mexico last week. And again, guns are different. They're not all the same either, depending on the location. But there's one at 83. So, and that pitch didn't seem much more different than the 2 that registered that we saw at 75 and 76.
Well, and I wonder if that was also picking up a bit of the ricochet off the bat. Who knows? To your point, yes, guns differ from region to region. You know the drop ball is always going to be score a little bit higher than the rise ball, but Diaz, clearly the hardest thrower on the circuit right now. Jack throws hard, but it's the movement that sets him apart.
Whatever he throws, more often than not, it's hard to hit. He has another strikeout in this inning as he deals with Zach Shaw. Zach's not only a player, he's also a coach. He's an assistant softball coach at Mississippi State University and had a quality hack at that pitch. Played for the Kegel Black Knights in last year's ISC World Tournament, where he went 3 for 17 with a couple of doubles and a couple of runs batted in.
The proliferation of men's players into the collegiate game in the U.S., it is significant. There were always some, and Mike White perhaps being the most notable, but Robbie Schweier with UCLA, they were in the College World Series. Travis Wilson has been a longtime assistant coach down at Florida State. Brad Kilpatrick has just moved on from Florida up to the University of Washington, where he will be an assistant coach.
Under Heather Tarr, who's also the head coach of the United States women's national team. Jen Salling has moved from Central Florida back to her alma mater at the University of Washington as part of that staff that you were just talking about. Jen, one of the great women's players for Canada for a long time. Helped Canada win a bronze medal in Japan at the last Olympics where softball was played. Well, let's face it, when you can have breakdancing, why have softball? Oops, that won't make everybody happy, but sorry. A ground out here. That shouldn't upset me. I couldn't help it. It's been a long day.
Completely and fully
I knew
agree.
that my closest audience probably was going to be on the same side.
Yes, indeed.
Teo Migliavacca. In fact, I would love the men's game to find its way into the Olympics. I'm not sure that's ever going to occur.
It is going to be part of this World Games thing next year in China. It is supposed to be the top 6 teams that finish in the World Cup this year.
That's on the women's side. They will be 2 8-team tournaments next year in China, both men's and women's.
Yeah, but I thought it was the top 6 teams plus a wild card plus China, which is probably going to be the Hong Kong team as host. And we've moved up the World Tournament to help accommodate that, because we know that there will be a lot of players from the ISC who will be asked to go play for their country. I guess the question I have is how many, because there is going to be so much going on in 2025. There will be pre-tournament tours. There will be the World Cup. There is the ISC. There is the U.S. Nationals. There is the Canadian Nationals. There is this World Games event. Every player here in this tournament is got to go to work on Monday morning, virtually every one of them. It's hard, particularly the North American players. It's going to be hard for a lot of guys to get
that kind of time
5-6 weeks off of work in a very compressed period of time.
Well, something's got to give. I'm going to guess Jack Besgrove will probably be available for all of it. Just a guess. Still looking for the game's first run here in Simcoe. 2 hits. For the Northeast Drillers, the Gremlins with a couple of hits in their own right. And Eric Ochoa dealing with Marshall Cronk as he and Besgrove in a pitcher's duel. This is the final game of the round robin. This 8-team tournament turns into 4 teams tomorrow. 2 semifinals at 10, and the championship final slated for noon. Ochoa rocket up the middle. And the 31-year-old American has the Gremlins in business in the top of the 4th inning.
The shortstop, number 34, Cole Evans.
Good swing by Eric Ochoa. And they'll run for him. And when you have Tane Mumu, I'd run for him too. He might be the fastest player in this sport of what I have seen this weekend.
Oh, there's 3 or 4 guys, and I think you and Joe were talking about this earlier today, that I would love to get into a sprint and see who comes out on top.
Nick White would be another.
Well, Nick White, Alan Pecker, Redemar, Biondi, Tony Mumu here who runs so well. There are a bunch of guys that Teo Migliavaca in center field for the Drillers here is very fleet of foot too.
Well, earlier today, he was on the move. There was a sharp ball hit to right. A bit of a fumble in shallow right field, and he scored all the way.
Yeah.
From first. Yes, he was on the move on a hit and run. But I'd like to have had a stopwatch on that path. Because the other thing is, Blair, as you would know, being around this game your whole life, it's one thing to be fast in a straight-out sprint. It's a little different in terms of your footwork and how you hit the bases. Like, that's a bit of an art form in its own right.
Oh, and just the smarts to be able to go first to third or first to home. And we talked about it last week. Bruno Matroni, who nobody would argue is quick, but scored the game-winning run because of heads-up base running. And Mumu has that already at that tender young age.
Well, he can fly. I don't know much, but I know that. And here's Winters, who was robbed of a hit earlier in the game by shortstop Cam Schiller. Nobody out, 2 on. Evans on the walk. Ochoa started the inning with a base hit being run for by Mumu. The other way and well foul from Zenon Winters, who at one time was the head coach of Team Indonesia.
Right. He had moved there and was operating his business there. I think he runs a couple of fitness clubs and took over that team.
Cronk comes in tight on his fellow countryman, and
there's
the two Aussies have a bit of a chuckle.
Yeah, and a cap tip to each other.
Yes. That wasn't happening in the last game.
Definitely not.
Where there were 3 hit batters in the rivalry between Hill United and Bear Creek. For the most part, cooler heads prevailed. A base hit, and here comes Mumu. And the Gremlins strike first on Zenon Winters' RBI single to right field. And it took a while to get here, but finally the Gremlins break through.
Peter, watch where Zenon Winters went to go hit that ball. It was up and across the plate, but he deliberately pulled it because there was a fairly big hole on the right side. And that was a very exceptional piece of hitting. To see that hole and identify it, because a lot of guys will try to roll that over and they'll just ground out to the pitcher. So now Greg Leather and Ron Hackett are going to engage in a discussion. I'd love to actually have somebody mic'd up to know what this is about. Oh, all right. Thank you for that.
Scott McLaren, is he leaving the game?
He is indeed. Joe Todd just broke the news here for us that Scott is not feeling well.
Ooh,
so they're getting.
You can tell.
Yeah, he got a little wobbly going off the field. Ooh. So that's something to be concerned about. Dave Harrington is going to be coming into the game. Dave was asked to go get ready, and they're going to look after Scott there. I don't know whether he has overheated. It's been so warm here in Simcoe. We've been talking about it all day. I know he was getting fluids because I talked to Scott earlier in the day, and he's certainly well aware of what you've got to do to stay hydrated. But Scott's from BC. They're not used to this level of humidity that we get here in Ontario. We actually talked about that earlier in the day.
Well, hope Scott's going to be all right, and he's drinking a bottle of water right now. We'll take a timeout. The Gremlins have broken through on a Zenon Winters RBI single.
It takes a lot for an umpire to come out of the game. I've seen a couple of times where guys stayed in and they shouldn't have because they take it as seriously as the players. Yes, the plate umpire was not
check.
So he asked them to get a replacement ready, so they got somebody coming.
We are still on.
Are we?
Yes.
Oh, well, hopefully we haven't said anything.
And you have not.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Greg Leather just come over to
talk
fill us
about
in.
The umpiring situation, and most importantly, we hope Scott McLaren, who you mentioned earlier, will work his first ISC World Tournament in his home province. This year's site is Surrey, British Columbia, and very excited about that. Now, we'll take a break and be back with more. It's 1-0 Gremlins over the Drillers. Final game of the round robin. We are in a delay. Scott McLaren, the home plate umpire, not feeling well. And what we are waiting for in a 1-0 Gremlins lead here on the fourth, as they've just scored on an RBI single courtesy of Zen and Winters, is for a new umpire to round out the crew of 3. It's been a good pitching battle between Besgrove of the Gremlins and Marshall Kronk. Both teams have threatened in the game, Blair, and should update you on the fact that both teams will participate in tomorrow's playoffs when 8 teams turns into 4. We know that Hill United is 4-0 and will be, at the very least, the number 2 seed. The Bear Creek Express at 2-2, based on their win over the Toronto Batmen, is what has propelled them into action. And the Northeast Drillers, who came into this game 2-1. Now, if they were to win this game, they would actually be the number 2 seed, and we'd have a rematch between these two tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's right, because it's going to be 1, 4, 2, 3. On a plus-minus basis, the Chiefs have a plus 24 rating at their 4-0 mark. If the Gremlins win this one, they're going to need to pick up some runs. A 1-0 win doesn't do them any good. They're plus 19 at the moment, so trailing by 5 on the plus-minus.
Now, while you have that looking right at you, or vice versa, who gets the higher seed between the Drillers and the Batmen? I guess we don't know yet because we don't know what the run differential is going to be.
Well, I don't think it's going to be the Batman. It's going to be the Bear Creek Express.
I mean, that's sorry, my apologies, but that's what I was inferring. Who would potentially be the 3 and who would be the 4 if indeed the Gremlins went on to win this game. And I know that we have an unanswered run total as of yet, but we do know what Bear Creek's plus-minus would be.
Well, they're -2, and then they just lost earlier to Hill, which was, what, 6-1?
6-1.
So they're -7. And the Drillers at the moment are +3 because they're trailing by 1. We're giving you a live update. So if they both finish 2-2, I think the Drillers would
be the 3, and we'd have a
4. So we'd have
Hill United and Bear Creek in a rematch of what we just witnessed.
And that would be on this diamond, and then the Drillers and Gremlins game would go to the B diamond, where Eastlink Community TV has been doing streaming on the cable channel, which are not streaming rather, but just live TV.
All the exposure is great. Abry the batter is new home plate umpire.
That's Dave Harrington, who has come on for relief for Scott. And kudos to Dave, because he would have been feed up thinking his day was done. And to probably volunteer to get the equipment on and get out here in a hurry. And thanks to Dave for picking up the slack there. And I'm sure Scott has to be really not feeling well. It takes a lot for an umpire to opt to come out of a game.
They're no different than the players.
They want to be here.
They absolutely do.
You and I were at the Canadian Championship last year, and in the first inning, the initial home plate umpire got hit with a foul ball and literally broke his hand. It took a broken hand for him to come out of the game.
And begrudgingly,
and missed what turned out to be
Abry. Bye-bye. Towering as long a home run as we have seen. It cleared fence 2. And that's what the Gremlins can do, is they deliver a mammoth home run by the 37-year-old from Richmond, British Columbia. That went a long way.
That landed at the base of the big pine trees out there, as you said, cleared the game fence, the perimeter fence, and probably half a tree as well.
As 1-0 turns into 4.
And that'll be it for Marshall Kronk, as Martin Gonzalez will come on and face the Gremlins. Still nobody out here in the fourth, too, Peter. They played at 4. We talked about them needing to make up some runs for the run differential. They just got a lot closer on one swing of the bat.
A massive home run for Canadian national team member Brian Avery. And here comes Martin Gonzalez.
So I wonder how many at-bats Ladislav Malorczuk has got against Martin Gonzalez. He and Juan Zera are just having a casual conversation here right now. These guys, of course, all play in the Paraná League in Argentina in their summer, which runs through the North American wintertime. And we were joking earlier yesterday about at-bat number 1,332 for Boland and Cleary. Here is Malorczuk, and I don't know who's on which team in Argentina. I probably should dig into that at some point, but I suspect these two face off against each other a fair bit.
I would seriously like to know, and I'm only saying this about 1/10 in jest. Does anybody play fast pitch at a high level outside of the one community? Like, that is still hard for me, Blair, to actually believe.
It's the highest level, so everybody migrates there. Not everybody is from there, but everybody migrates there to play at the highest level. There's a university team that has come up to the World Tournament the last couple of years that's actually based in Buenos Aires, but all of the players to play in the league go there.
Okay. So now
it'd be like having everybody in Canada move to St. John's to play in the senior league.
Correct. But, and it isn't always, and I'm not being critical, but I am being critical. One thing that probably should be more readily available in terms of listing is where people are from. I think it's important.
Yeah, that'd be great if we had more of that information. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I always understand in amateur-based sports, generally there are never enough people. But even saying that, so here's an example. Every team would get a forum or a form when they register for a world-type tournament. Why does that not include hometown?
Oh, it does, but hometown for some people means putting in Paraná, Argentina. For others, it means writing in Argentina because they don't know the hometown of where their out-of-region player is actually from.
Okay, but I think my point is everybody knows where they come from.
Yeah.
So my point is somebody knows the answer to that question. That's my point.
Yeah, I wish we all had at all levels.
Yes.
And we're all looking in the mirror, respectively here. I all wish that all of us wish that we had slightly better record keeping.
But that one to me, like, I get the numbers and all, like, I fully understand. But that one to me doesn't seem like it's that hard a fix. But that's just my own opinion. I just like to know where people are from.
You're the preacher, I'm the choir.
Yes. I'm not sure anybody else cares, but I do. I always think it's just, it's one thing to give numbers and stats, but you like to know where people are from.
A little bit of personal flavor is always welcome.
Yeah, people like to connect with people. Malorczuk. Yes. Paraná. We'll leave it there for now. But I have 2 months to dig in.
Huemo Mata, I know, is from outside of Paraná. I can't remember the name of the town, but I know it's originally he is not from there. La Pampa in Argentina.
See, that is probably the best way to get this question answered. How about the guy who speaks the right language? Ask all of these players that he's been dealing with the last number of years. We might get to it the quickest through Luciano.
Yeah, we might get there quicker.
True. Anyway, let's get back to the game. You can tell it's the final game of the round robin, and it's 4-0. Martin Gonzalez. This I can tell you. He was 1-1 at the Pan American Championships, the new pitcher for the Northeast Drillers. He pitched 9 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits, struck out 15, and walked 4. And he actually started the game in the round-robin portion against Venezuela. The guy by the name of Migliavaca started the gold medal game against Venezuela. That at the Pan American Championship back in April.
And there was a whale of a tournament down there between those two teams in particular. They were the cream of the crop.
Nick Mullins finds the gap. And when you find a gap between Milheim and Schiller, and Milheim, just watching him now, feels like maybe he could have made this play, but I think he's being a little hard on himself, to be honest.
That was destined for the 5.5 hole at all times. It was a seeing eye single. You look it up in the dictionary, and that's it.
So Nick Mullins has a hit past 2 other members of the United States national team in Milheim and Schiller. And here's Canadian Matthew Waugh, who doubled his last time up, as the Gremlins have broken through in a weird inning that required a small delay, and we once again wish the best for umpire Scott McLaren, who was not well when he left the field. He did look better, Blair, I thought, even on our camera shot when he was being well attended to by members of the Gremlins staff in particular.
Yeah, they've got some top-notch people over there. And he got some liquids in him, some hydration, which is probably the biggest thing.
Well, it is hot. And I know it's been a fairly pleasant night, but it is very easy to become dehydrated when you're standing where they've been standing and working since 9 o'clock this morning in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it's... the ball players are playing 3 games today. The umpires are probably doing at least 3 games a day. And doing a plate is very physical.
That's a great point. I don't know if that's ever talked about enough.
You've got 15, 20 pounds of gear on as a home plate umpire, maybe more.
Yeah, when it's pushing 40 Celsius with humidity, that's a lot. Matthew Waugh, the batter. To Schiller, backhands it over to second for 1. And Schiller once again displays fine work over at short. He nearly got to that ball that was hit by Mullins.
He went a long way to go get this one and still made a very good throw to second as he pivoted, and Shaw made the right move, putting that in his back pocket. He were not going to double off Matthew Waugh, not on that type of play.
Matthew Waugh's difficult to double up in a routine 6-4-3 scenario, which that was not.
No, exactly.
As you so kindly and finely pointed out. A 4-run fourth for the Gremlins. And they've busted it open. There's Lucio Retamar, the 24-year-old. Played for his country in a 2023 U23 World Cup.
Bronze medal for Argentina in that one, beating Mexico in that bronze medal. Again, contentious affair, as there was a bench clear, to use a hockey term, early in that one and resulted in multiple ejections.
I don't know if you happened to see it on social media this week, but there was a baseball game somewhere.
Oh, the bat swinging thing. What was that
I have
about?
never seen anything like that in my entire lifetime.
You can look it up on social media for yourselves, folks. A batter got hit, turned around, and swung the bat multiple times at the catcher.
Well,
hit him
and
4 or
hit
5
him
times
at
with the
least
bat.
2 or 3 times. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything
No.
like it. It was despicable, and not despicable me for.
No, there's that player should be
Never play again.
Yeah.
Anything.
ever.
Should be in jail.
Well, there is a case to be made
Yeah,
there.
there
for
is
sure.
a case to be made there.
Ball 4 to Redemar, and Martin Gonzalez, this inning has already seen the Gremlins score 4. He's in danger of inflating that here with these walks.
Came on in place of the starter, Marshall Cronk, who was rolling along pretty nicely.
Ran into a buzzsaw this inning, and this is now the 9 batter in the inning for the Gremlins.
And it's Ben Anoka. There's a good pitch that didn't miss the mark by much. Well, you have to tip your cap to Argentina to become, one of the true softball powers in the last dozen or so years.
I've lost track of how many times I've said it over the years. They put the money into their program. They brought the athletes together. They don't just play it together once or twice a year, which Canada only does, and that is geographically constrained to fully understand it. But Argentina put the money into their program with the express purpose of winning gold medals, particularly the Pan Am Games gold medal. That was their target. The fact that they got the World Cup along the way was gravy for them. They really wanted to win those Lima Pan Am Games gold medal because that is right adjacent to them. That's almost a home country win for them.
Gonzalez from that nation and delivers a strike to Anoka.
The Czech Republic is doing something similar. Now they've had, you could argue, a bit of a downturn here in this qualifier, not going to make the World Cup, the final 8 in 25.
It's Gonzalez comes in, had a little bit of a struggle, some good defense behind him, and out of the inning on the strikeout versus Anoka. But the Gremlins, the damage aplenty, and the lead is 4.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it.
The New York Gremlins, the 2-time reigning Chiefs Challenge Tournament title winners, trying a 3-peat. And Jack Besgrove starts this inning with a new 4-run advantage that he didn't have his last time out. And it's been a long time, Blair, since he has pitched in this game.
Yeah, it's been about a 35 minute top of the inning for the Gremlins at bat. It was a long inning just with their at-bats, but then the break with the change in the umpires. And Adam Folkert in those types of situations would go out and throw down the sidelines. Now, maybe Jack wasn't behind the dugout, but that's a long break in between.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did some of that. It had to be half an hour plus. I don't think there's any question. So Besgrove back to work.
Doesn't seem to have affected him any.
I'm not sure if there's much of a pulse there. And it certainly seems the heart rate to slow down at the most important times. And that one, thank goodness for the screen, or it may be the last ball game I would have ever called. Because that was at about 80. And not a lot of resistance on the way to the backstop.
No, it got there unimpeded, I think, as the saying goes.
Sorry, Jack, if I said something along the way you didn't like. Although I don't think behind a microphone he doesn't like this. Milheim off the fence. Did it stay in play? It did. Milheim might score an inside the park home run. Here he comes. It's close. And he's going to be safe. Mullins thought he put the tag on him.
I want to see the replay because Nick Mullins, the throw came in on time from Ochoa. It hits the top of the fence and ricochets in. You can watch it there, but unfortunately the right fielder goes over the fence, has to hurdle it to get back in. Milheim around the corner, and
Now batting, number 3,
the swipe.
shortstop Cam.
I think he's by him unless he touched him on the back of the shoulder, and I couldn't tell from that angle.
I think he got him, but I'm not sure he got him in time. It looked like he may have touched the plate. What a sequence. Redemar goes flying over the fence.
I have never seen a guy go over the fence like that, hurdle it to come back in, and then get the ball in like that. That was crazy.
Well worth another glance for absolute sure. As Milheim has credit for an inside the park home run. We're going to slow this down.
He doesn't tag him until after he touches the plate. He got the call right.
I think the most interesting part, and we'll get there in a second or two, is what happened with Redemar on his attempt to make the catch.
Goes over the fence.
Goes flying over the temporary fence. Well, you see a lot of things in sports. There's one I won't forget for a long time.
No, you hang around this game long enough, you will see just about everything, and that is, the soft temporary fences. Bradley Ezekiel has made career highlights of going through the plastic breakaway ones. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody go over it like that. And then have the presence of mind, and you see again as Milheim slides around the tag. He did.
Great slide. And Blaine Milheim has the Drillers on the board with an inside-the-park home run off Jack Besgrove. And Besgrove seems a little rattled.
I don't know whether he's just lost his release point, but he's hit the mascot with the last 4 or 5 pitches. One more look. Well, Mullins out to the board while we looked at that play one more time. He went out to have a conversation with Jack Besgrove. That's veteran leadership from Nick Mullins. Go out and settle the kid down, remind him of what he does right, and to go back to that.
Well, the visit just worked.
That might have been the hardest pitch he's thrown all game, but it had purpose, velocity, but also location.
Says 76. And he leaned back. And good to see him find his way. This one up. Did Cronk go around?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was half swing, half self-defense.
That's what I
went
thought.
all the way around.
So a run in and now one out. Cronk was the starting pitcher in the game. Always want his bat in the lineup. Change up. Besgrove doesn't throw a lot of them. Had a big smile on his face that time as he looked back at his battery mate in Nick Mullins.
Well, and this is the pitchers union too, and also these guys would face each other in Australia in the play down there, the national championships.
Good swing from Cronk, and he knew it. Knew he just missed it. The slap of his own bat tells you he was right on that pitch.
Well, Peter, we are officially the last game of the night as the game behind us, STK and Oswego Redmond, has come to an end. STK had a 4-0 lead late in that one.
Besgrove wanted that.
Maybe just up.
The body language of number 57. Look at the lean. Tried to will it. Didn't quite work. The 1-2. Another strikeout for Besgrove.
That's 9 on the night.
He very rarely has games with any less than 8, 9, or 10 if he goes the distance.
He is usually into the double digits.
Only 70 last week in Mexico in 33 2/3. 3 games of 15 or more.
You know, and you expect that level of dominance, and he was like that at the U23 tournament where he truly was a man among boys at that particular event, even though he was one of the youngest players in that tournament.
That's the scary part.
But that was a world qualifier with some very good ball teams and very good ball players there.
37-year-old Manuel Godoy.
You'll never forget how old he is now.
Ever.
Ever, yeah.
No, ever. It just couldn't add. Fouled it away. And Nick Mullins wants a ball to play with. That's why he's going where he's gone.
Well, I think at this time of the night, all the kids who were bringing the balls back in who were getting 50 cents on the return, used to be a quarter. Inflation these days.
So we talked about the World Games next year in China.
Well, I got a text from Mike Brancho, who may be back at the hotel. His son plays on the Hill United Chiefs team. So it's the top 6 from the world rankings as of December 31st, 2024, which obviously is 6 months before the World Cup. So you could have something remarkably different than the results of the World Cup, plus a host and a wild card for both the men and the women. The rankings are going to be very important as a result of all of these qualifiers.
They are. 4-0 after 4 here in Simcoe.
Dreamcatcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there.
Eric Ochoa, who played a factor in that 4-run 4th inning, fact, he started it with a base hit up the middle off then pitcher Marshall Cronk. 9 batters or 10 batters came to the plate in inning number 4.
It was a full 9. Ochoa did start it with the single back up the middle, come around to score on the RBI by Winters, who reached out and pulled the ball through the 3.5 hole between first and second. And then, of course, Brian Avery hit one to the moon.
And back.
And back.
Which was a 3-run blast. And quickly it became 4-0. They'd add no more.
No, despite putting a couple of runners aboard, Gonzalez was able to close the door. And he's going to have to keep it closed the rest of the way and hope that somebody else other than Blaine Milheim can get a hit.
Yeah, Milheim has provided the lone run with a odd inside the park home run. And we've seen the play at home plate a lot.
Well, it was
I still
throwing play.
Yeah, it's still the Redemar dive. Now that I've seen the end result a lot, that I'm almost as fascinated to watch again. There's Ochoa. A swing and a miss from Martin Gonzalez, the 31-year-old.
Well, the important thing that Redemar does on that play is to get back over the fence cleanly.
And throw a strike to the cutoff, man.
Throw a strike to Ochoa, who in turn made a good throw to the plate. But
Ochoa goes down swinging as Martin Gonzalez with a couple of strikeouts here in relief.
Go out and try to hurdle that fence under pressure because there's no resistance to that thing. So he's got to pretty much jump over it. That's an athletic play.
Is it ever? Peter Lubardius, Blair Sedford.
Neither of whom could jump over that fence under pressure.
No kidding. Especially me right now. Got a vertical of about half an inch at this point. Could never jump. Ever.
No, I would need stairs to get over that thing at this point.
Well, I'd need an elevator. Here's Evans. That had plenty of good movement on it. Really tailed to the inner half for a strike on the 26-year-old. Haven't had the opportunity in this game to watch Evans field a ball at shortstop, which I always really enjoy.
Yeah, we've been deprived of that one tonight. He hasn't had any action in his direction whatsoever. Bestgrove with 10 strikeouts on the night.
Zara with a triple earlier in the game. And then the inside the park home run.
Well, Milheim is 2 for 2. He had the high hopper that he beat
off
out.
home plate.
Yeah.
Gonzalez with some giddy up on the rise to get the talented Cole Evans. Zenon Winters with a very important base hit that opened the scoring in the last inning. And you mentioned what a good piece of hitting it was to pull it through the hole between first and second. Might have missed his spot, but still threw a strike.
He absolutely did. Zara wanted that out and off the plate, and he threw it middle low.
Blair, I don't know if you noticed, but watch right here. If we get a look from the center field camera, which we will, watch where he gives the signs. The last time, and here he goes again.
He's doing it for the contrast against the chest protector, I think, because
absolutely he is.
There's a bit of shadow, obviously, in the traditional spot where you're going to do it in between the legs. And so he's got it up against the black part of the chest protector.
You don't see that all the time.
No, you don't. Australia, who tend to be innovators in these things, I can remember years ago, they would do the signs, much like a third base coach would put the bunt sign on or something. It was across the shoulders and taps and things like that. They've now are using the wristband, which Adam Folkert is using in play here this weekend.
Another base hit by Zenon Winters, the 40-year-old. Can still swing it.
If I ever started a winery, I think I would name a wine Zenon, because he just gets better and better with age.
I knew you were going there. Well, we're not far away. Well, we could be in a bit of a better direction in this province for some help there. The Niagara region is a pretty great place if you want to talk about wineries.
Yeah, some pretty decent wineries, not too far down the road.
Little ways. Well, Brian Avery, the last time he was at home plate, almost hit one to a road.
Almost hit one to a Great Lake.
Mammoth shot, the left, over the second fence. As Gonzalez comes inside on Brian Avery.
Lake Erie is not too far off in that general direction.
A 4-1 advantage. Top of the fifth. Final game, literally, of the round robin. We'll have a couple of semifinals tomorrow at 10. I'm going to guess we will feature the Hill United game.
Yeah, they'll be here on the main diamond, undoubtedly. The matchups at the moment look like Hill United and Bear Creek, and that is starting to be an all-Ontario rivalry, the Battle of Ontario. And I don't know bad blood, but certainly the intensity is ratcheting up between those two teams.
Certainly did, and what for those two teams will be back-to-back meetings here, because Hill United with a convincing win over Bear Creek in the game just prior to this one.
And it'll be back-to-back for these two teams then as well, as they would meet in the 2-3 game. Again, that assumes that the score stays as it is. Hill would need, I think, at least 2, 3, 4 more runs, or not Hill, rather the Gremlins would need probably at least 3, and I'm going to guess maybe 4 to be able to catch up to Hill United on the plus-minus.
And there's no way from what you have calculated that Bear Creek could finish ahead of the Drillers.
Not that I can see, because
of Bear Creek's run differential?
Well, that loss that they just had to Hill United was a 6-1 loss, so that's taken them fairly deep into the negative side of the ledger. And I think the biggest differential we could have would be a -7 for the Drillers. So I don't see that they can get to where Bear Creek is on that side.
Well, what are they right now?
Well, the
Drillers?
Drillers are on a live count +3, or no, they're +1. But the worst they could get to, again, on a 7-run differential would be -6. And I believe, again, that Bear Creek, again, this is my math, it's not official. I believe Bear Creek is -7. So I don't think that the Drillers can be passed by Bear Creek.
But the Gremlins still have a chance to be first.
Yeah, there was a 5-run spread between the two. The Gremlins were +19, and they are currently +22. They need 3 more runs to surpass Hill United without giving up any.
Who finished at +24?
They have finished at +24.
Number 24?
Number 24.
Just struck out. It's 4-1, and it's getting late here at Simcoe. 4 runs on 6 hits for the Gremlins. 1 run on an inside the park homer on 3 hits versus Jack Besgrove and the Gremlins.
2 of those hits by Blaine Milheim. The other by Juan Zera, who should be on deck.
No one is yet, but here he comes.
Just emerged from the dugout door.
The batter is 22-year-old left fielder Jordan Solorio from Mexico. The movement and that pitch was abundant. This guy's stuff moves as well east-west as it does north-south.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's thrown 2 to Solorio that had such great late break. And as a right-handed batter, can get in on your hands quickly. That one didn't move as much into foul territory. There is room, and no dive over the fence required that time for Lucio Retamar.
It was pretty routine, even though he had to go probably 25 steps to go get that. I mean, he went a long way.
He did go a long way. And it's an interesting field in the sense that in a lot of parks, the fence will go all the way down to where the home run fence is. It's not the case here.
There is an out-of-bounds line there. You can't go halfway across the beer garden to catch
one. Retamar might be able to.
Grab a sip and make your way back.
Well, Juan Zera hit one a long way in that direction earlier in the game for a triple. The Drillers had a chance to take the lead, but on a ball that just got a little away from Nick Mullins, Solorio, who came in for Zara as a pinch runner, was tagged out at home by Besgrove. Goes upstairs with a riser for another strike. Well hit. Has a chance. And caught.
Well, that is the beauty of the breakaway fences, isn't it? You can go back and you can go through them. And let's watch the replay here, because these are just pretty to watch.
Ben Anoka, head over heels to take one away from Jordan Solorio. That has virtual capabilities too. That's not Pomeroy from last year, but it's right up there.
Yeah, that's in Bradley Essicle territory, the breakaway fences.
Besgrove comes right back with a heater to Blake Underwood. So the Drillers have made some good contact in this game off Besgrove, but it remains 4-1.
Peter, we've talked about it a couple of times. The underrated part of the game is the defense. Every one of these guys out here in the diamond right now, and a lot more that aren't, are all top-notch defenders. Sure, all the offense gets the talk, and well, it should. And it is still a pitcher's game as well. But defensively, these guys are so good.
When you think about tomorrow, would have to suggest that Migliavacca probably gets the ball in the semifinal for the Gremlins. I would think. And then maybe it's Besgrove if they get that far in the final. And now new home plate umpire Dave Harrington, who replaced the starting home plate umpire, who left the game with what looked like potentially a hydration problem. I'm not a doctor and should not play one on stream, TV, or radio. Nick Mullins just asked the home plate umpires, the first pitch a strike or a ball?
Yeah, so they're asking for a count check, and that was what the conversation was about. Mullins is not happy with the reversal of the count. We're going with a 2-1 count, as I took from the conversation.
And Mullins thinks it's 1-2.
2-2, and as quickly as that pitch came in, it went back to Bestgrove. It's frustration with the mix-up, apparent mix-up.
And look at the smile. Besgrove, I guarantee you, is thinking right now, do we really need to do that?
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Well, I didn't make the call. Well, Besgrove helped things out. Another strikeout. It's been a bit of a fascinating night. We'll be back with more of it. It's 4-1 Gremlins. To the top of the sixth. Entertaining, somewhat controversial. An umpire left, feeling very ill. We had a half an hour plus inning in which the Gremlins scored 4. We had an amazing catch in the last inning to rob a home run from Jordan Solorio, which you just got a great look at. Thank you, Luciano. We had an inside-the-park home run with an outfielder who dove over top of the home run fence, came back, threw a strike to the cutoff man, and a great slide at home to produce the Drillers' only run. We've had 10 or 11 strikeouts from Besgrove. 11. Other than that, nothing's happened tonight. And the crazy thing about it is, on the whole, well, I can't say that it doesn't mean a whole bunch, because the Drillers still in a position to be the 2 seed rather than the 3 seed. But even at that, would it change the matchup?
It would.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, if the Drillers...
So if the Drillers come back and win this game, they're two.
They still can't pass the Gremlins because it's not head-to-head on the tiebreaker.
It isn't?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it's plus-minus.
Well, if that's the case, I thought the reason that Bear Creek finished ahead of the Batmen was because of their win over Toronto earlier today.
No, Bear Creek's 2-2. Batmen, I think, finished 1-3. Did they not?
I thought they finished
maybe they did
2-2.
Yeah, could be.
Mullins has a base hit. So he was angry when he left.
Angry still.
He's still mad, but he's a little less mad.
He's 2 for 3 on the night as well. You know what? I want to retract that. I think there is the head-to-head within the divisions where it's possible. It's the plus-minus where they haven't played head-to-head. So let me retract that. You're right. Yeah.
So if the Drillers were to come back and win, we'd still have the same matchups tomorrow. The only way it changes is if the Gremlins win this game by enough to
surpass Hill. Yeah,
surpass Hill.
They need
then
another.
they would play Bear Creek, and Hill would play the Drillers.
Yeah. The Gremlins need another 3 runs to do that, at least by my simple math. And again, not the official, nothing we're saying is official.
No. And on this night, absolutely nothing should be official or taken official.
Gonzalo Masmu is in the run. We can tell you that official.
That is official.
Running at first base, number 66, Gonzalo Masmu. At bat, Matthew Raw.
And another potential speedster. I've not seen a lot of him. Number 66. Number 16 hit it high. Not quite deep enough. Solorio has been quite busy. He made a great catch, and he was robbed of a home run. As Matthew Waugh hit it pretty well.
Yeah, got it to within about 5 feet of the fence. 250 all the way around is the temporary fence.
I thought it might carry a little more when it left the bat.
You know, if he'd have hit that here this afternoon with the wind that we had, that probably blows out. It was stiff here this afternoon. It has really calmed down this evening.
So it remains 4-1. And yes, Masmu from Paraná in Argentina, as is the batter.
It's also 0 dark 30 beyond the park confines here.
Can you explain?
Very dark.
Oh, thank you. I've never heard it referred to. I don't know what 0 dark 30 means.
Oh, it's a reference to a movie where they attacked the Obama bin Laden compound when it was dark. It's a pop culture reference.
As my stepdaughter tells me all the time, Peter, you suck at pop culture. You're pretty good at sports. You stink at pop culture. Can't even say it. Hopefully okay enough still at calling men's fast pitch or any kind of softball. Redemar, who's had a quality day and an interesting one tonight, most of it has occurred in right field rather than at home plate in this game. He did have 3 hits and 4 RBIs in the first game of 3 today against STK Fastball. Facing Martin Gonzalez, fellow countryman. And Gonzalez delivers a beauty, swung on and missed.
With 2 out, coming to the plate, center fielder, number 89, Ben Inoka.
That's the 5th strikeout through. I guess that was a full inning for Martin in the 4th. So he's worked 2 2/3. Working on 5 strikeouts and counting. That's not too bad for Martin Gonzalez, who's done a really good job here, Peter. A couple of base runners here and there, but he's kept them off the score sheet, which is what counts.
Marshall Cronk started well, then ran into the buzzsaw that was the top of the 4th inning. Gave up 4. And Gonzalez has shut the door. Ben Inoka, the batter, after making the sensational home run robbing catch off of Jordan Solorio. Trying to add a little offense here late in the game. The Gremlins looking to go a perfect 4-0. Hill United already there. The Drillers and the Bear Creek Express will all be in tomorrow's playoffs. We know that. A little seeding still left to determine. Milheim thought about it after the juggle and thought, I'm going to hang on to it.
I wonder if he lets that go, if it goes foul. We'll see it chopped down the line here by Ben Anoka. I think that's going to go foul if he lets it go. He tried to backhand it, bobbled it just for a second, more than enough to allow both Ben Anoka and Gonzalo Masmu, who's pinch running, to advance. You never know.
2 outs. Milheim will be charged with an error. And it's Gonzalez versus Eric Ochoa. His single kicked off a 9-batter, 4-run 4th inning. The difference in the game. Hit hard and well. And gone. Eric Ochoa. A 3-run homer to left field. And it's 7-1. And it can be hard to tell from our vantage point with that breakaway fence at times whether it went out.
The reaction here of Solario says it all. If that had been a ground rule double, he's going to throw the hands up right away. He doesn't. You can see it actually hits the back fence. It clears the fence without any question at all. And Martin Gonzalez, we had just finished talking up how well he had been doing, and then gives up a 3-run opposite field shot, it's got to be said, to Eric Ochoa, who can hit the ball with authority to any part of the ball field.
And it is 7-1. So a couple of big blasts in the game, courtesy of Avery and now Eric Ochoa. And now there's more math in question, by the way.
Yeah, I think that does it for the Gremlins. I think that's enough, but again, not official.
Well, we'll be here tomorrow. We know which 4. We might need a little help from the organizers between now and the end of this game to guarantee that we know exactly who will finish first and who will be the number 2 seed. Although the Drillers still have a couple of at-bats left, which
let's not get
too far ahead. But that just did change the complexion. So Eric Ochoa hit it hard the opposite way. And Cole Evans, that was the first blast, really, that Gonzalez gave up in relief. They're going to check it. I think everyone in the park is starting to show signs that it's been a lengthy, warm day. Quality rip by Evans, sent it straight back. Just failed to get on top of the rise ball from Martin Gonzalez, who was cruising along quite nicely before the 3-run homer. At this diamond, it's almost like 6-run deficits have been the difference, or in that neighborhood. A diving catch out and right this time. Blake Underwood goes down to get it. And another quality defensive effort in the game and tournament as he takes a hit away. But the Gremlins add 3 more and lead it by 6.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wet
6 runs is the advantage for the Gremlins after a 3-run shot by Eric Ochoa in the top half of the 6. Jack Besgrove continues to deliver in the circle for the Gremlins. Chopper. Good play by Mallerzuk.
Peter, just while we got a second, I want to say hi to a good friend, Var Matiosian from the Gremlins, not here with us this reason. Var, thinking of you and your situation, which you were here, but you're in the right spot, and I know you're watching.
So 1 out. And the good play by second baseman Ladislav Mallerzuk. Wasn't an easy short hop that he had to handle and shovel. Migliavaca is in Teo, the speedy center fielder of the Northeast Drillers. The Gremlins certainly tonight, and in their first game today against STK, Blair, they don't leave a lot of runs where they don't take advantage. They've been very opportunistic.
And that is something that has set the Gremlins apart over the last few years. It was the differentiator for Hill United in their runs in the early and mid-2010s, where every mistake, every opportunity, earned, unearned, they took advantage.
It's been that kind of day for them here. The Drillers still with 5 outs left to try and mount a comeback, but against one of the best pitchers on planet Earth, going to be difficult. Paints the inside corner, does Jack Besgrove, for yet another strikeout. Look at the location here.
Right on the inside corner.
And underneath the hands of the left-handed batter with movement. Well, here's the one member of the Drillers that has had Besgrove's number tonight. It's 2 for 2, and Blaine Milheim, including that never-to-be-forgotten inside the park homer with a great slide by him to get around the tag, but also the dive over the fence by Lucio Redemar, the right fielder. It had a little of everything. Join us tomorrow for one of the 2 semifinals in the championship game. And the best place to watch stream softball, Softball Premier TV.
And just a quick reminder and a quick note for everybody, due to the bots on Facebook, ISC Canada East has been blocked out by Facebook through nothing we've done. It's through the bots. All the games streaming still live on Softball Premier on YouTube, and all the score reporting through Blair JS17 on Twitter. You can continue to follow the tournament on X, formerly Twitter, and on YouTube.
Milheim stays alive on that swing. The product of Homer, Michigan. Also have seen Eaton Rapids listed by his name. Also in Michigan.
Besgrove lost his landing spot there and missed the zone.
Well, everybody will sleep well tonight.
It has been a long day. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in with us all day long.
What do you know? Another quality at-bat for Blaine Milheim. An all-world player in Denmark, Wisconsin. Just 28 years old. Lots of good fast-pitch softball left in this young man.
And one of those success stories who made the transition over to fast pitch, even though he was around the game in Michigan, was a baseball player growing up and in college, but certainly can't do anything about that one there.
Wasn't easy, but Besgrove was the better man in that situation. 7-1. Gremlins in front.
Dreamcatcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. We know we have a long way to go.
The 7th inning is here. And 7 is a key number. It also represents the amount of runs that the Gremlins have scored. In the air, Schiller ranging and can't hang on. Went a long way to get it. Thought he was going to haul it in.
How far is Solorio from this ball? No, he's not going to get there. I wondered maybe whether Jordan deferred to Cam Schiller on that play, but Cam really is the only guy that's got a shot at it, and it just clunks off the glove. Surprising, because that doesn't happen very often to Cam. It's above average effort to even get to that ball.
So again, Winters on base. He's had a big night. I believe that's the 3rd time he's made his way to first.
You going hit on that? Oh, you're harsh.
I didn't say no.
That's a base hit for Brian Avery.
I'm going hit on that.
Yes, without a doubt. And Brian Avery's had himself a good night, 2 for 3 with a walk and a big 3-run home run.
Yeah, a couple of those, the difference in the game. One by Abry in the 4th, another by Ochoa in the 6th. And Mallerzuk looking to add some more. Off reliever, Martin Gonzalez, who came in to replace Marshall Cronk at 4-0 and was sailing along quite nicely until Eric Ochoa went the opposite way and homered last inning to left. This one gets away from Zara. Look at the quickness.
In a 7-1 ball game that in the grand scheme of things may not mean much, late in this 7-1 ball game too, he's still on that like a cat.
In game 3 of the day.
Yeah.
Ouch.
The plate's pretty clean, but I thought Dave Harrington was going to clean it some more just to give Juan Zera some time.
Nice umpiring to just go around and make sure he was okay. For half a second, I wasn't sure that it maybe didn't clip the umpire, but it did not. Gonzalez with a miss and a 2-2 count.
Never been an umpire, but I think if I was a home plate umpire, I would not be thrilled if the catcher jumped out at the last minute and left me half exposed there.
Base hit, Mallerzuk. Here comes Winters. And it's 8-1.
Zenon Winters had the head. He was getting the way from Greg Leather, the coach over at third base for the Gremlins, the skipper, but he's got the head down, coming around, running hard. Don't tell me those games and these extra runs don't mean anything to these teams. They know what's at stake, and the extra run or two may be the difference between being in first or second for the seeding. Now, there's no prize tomorrow. You might get Sean Cleary, you might get Huemo Mata, depending on who you're going to play.
And you're not even guaranteed to be the home team, are you? Or are you?
I think if you're the 2 seed, you are.
So there's no flip.
Again, not my tournament, not my rule, but I would make that assumption.
Not your circus?
It's felt like that today at times.
I can tell. That's why I asked. (8-1), and there's still no one out here in the 7th. And a strike to the catcher, Nick Mullins, who singled angrily his last time up.
Yeah.
Still upset a little bit at the home plate umpire for what he thought was a miscount. Great movement from Gonzalez and a strikeout. The first out of the inning as Mullins goes down swinging this time. What I'm really hoping for tomorrow in this group of 4 teams again is that we might have games that are a little closer in total.
There have been some statements made in these games last night and today by Hill United and by the Gremlins. Some decisive wins by both over.
And good competition.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about, the teams who are going to play tomorrow, we're talking about arguably the top 4 ranked teams in the ISC.
Well, and justifiably so. I don't think you can make the case for anybody else to be in the top 4. I think you had to give the Gremlins the top spot, although Hill United made some significant additions in the offseason. Probably the most improved team, I would say, in the offseason, Hill United.
Well, hard to argue that when you look at their current personnel and what they did in their pitching department.
Marco Diaz, Ramon Godoy, Lenny Villavazo, Quentin Bruce. Those are pretty significant additions.
Those are 4 world-class players, and 2 of them in the most important spot in the sport. Don't try to say that quickly 8 times. Matthew Waugh into this one. Does it have enough? No.
Matthew Waugh has hit 2 right to the fence today. He'll have to go have his Wheaties tomorrow for breakfast.
Yeah, he's made great contact all night, and his reaction.
He thought he got it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right to the base of the fence. Maybe the air's a little bit heavy with all the humidity that we've been talking about here today. We'll blame it on the atmospherics.
Or the 30 under or whatever you had going earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, the game not brought to you tonight by Peter Perry Pop Culture. Redemar takes high and tight. I thought it had a chance by the sound of the bat myself. So it remains 8-1. 2 down at Solorio. Took a couple of steps to his right, and the inning is over. Well, a massive mountain to climb for the Drillers in the bottom of the 7th. Eight to 1. The Gremlins about to go 4-0 to join Hill United with a perfect round-robin record. Jack Besgrove has 13 strikeouts. There's some large moss in the park. Big hop. Cole Evans makes a lot of plays look routine.
That one came with a gift bow on it for Cole Evans with that kind of high hop. He's just got to run underneath this and then make the strong throw, which you know he is going to do every time.
Throwing, a lot of things he does is very technically sound. The way he comes right over the top on the throw. You don't always see that.
No, there's a lot of sidearm from guys, 3/4.
But he comes right over the top. And it hasn't been a busy night for him, unlike the guy who just grounded out to him. The opposition shortstop, Cam Schiller's had a very busy night. Marshall Cronk, the designated player, started the game as the pitcher and DP. We weren't sure he was going to start the game. It was a late little switch.
Yeah, he was listed as a designated player. The Drillers dropped down to 9 and had Kronk take the field defensively.
Pounds that on to diamond 2, where hopefully no one is.
No, there hasn't been anybody over there for about an hour and a half.
True.
We're into, the 17th hour of this 7-inning game?
This has been a lengthy one. Besgrove says, I'll take it.
Well, good for Jack. A lot of pitchers would have run in fear from having to field a fly ball.
Well, they were laughing at him, too, when he made the catch.
He's got a smile right now.
Yeah, I know he does.
Yeah. 2 hands.
Well,
he did it right.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, Joe Todd would be happy with that. Defensively sound.
Yeah, big fan of that myself.
He didn't throw it around, though.
No.
He just kept the ball and went back to the circle.
He knows it's been a long one, too. Down to the final out of the round robin. Hill United and the Gremlins have been the class of days 1 and 2. Will they meet for the title tomorrow at noon? We'll show you tomorrow here on Softball Premier TV. If you have yet to subscribe, I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. Something was amiss there, the landing spot or something. I mean, the last thing you want to see is Jack Besgrove go down. A little kick at the dirt.
Been a few times on both sides for guys.
Yeah, I mean, the diamonds are so hard. You haven't seen the trenches formed like you often do. But it's taken a pounding out there. This is the 6th game of the day on this diamond. And the beating that the landing areas take as guys dig up ruts and think about.
Abry. Strong throw to end the game. It was a bit of a marathon. And the Gremlins finish at 4-0 with another convincing win. Is Blair, they're a little closer to a Chiefs Challenge three-peat.
Well, we'll find out in about the next half hour or so what the matchups will be. We'll have those for you on Twitter, BlairJS17 on Twitter, not on Facebook. The bots have banned us for the duration of the weekend here. We'll have to pick up on ISC Canada East next week. Stay with us on YouTube as well, and we're back, Peter, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Be Hill United, Chiefs, and somebody on this diamond.
8-1 Gremlins. That'll do it for all of us here at Softball Premier TV. Have yourself a great rest of the night.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com.